Now that we've created the rough color areas for the spines on the monster's back, we're ready to go in and now modify those darker areas to make them look like they blend in to the rest of the skin. Okay, so in Photoshop, here's where we left off with these darker areas of the monster's spine. So now what we can do is come in and really try to adjust these and really make them look like they blend in to the rest of the skin. And the way I'm going to blend that is with the smudge tool. Okay, so with the smudge tool, what I first need to do is probably make some adjustments to the brush. Okay, so we'll go ahead and open the brushes palette and try and pick a small, sort of small, maybe about a size 9 it looks like. Make sure it's a soft-edged brush or a brush with no hardness. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's maybe give this a little bit of scatter. And for other dynamics, I want to make sure I have the strength jitter set to pen pressure. That way, the harder I push, the more it's going to blur, and then as I let off my pen, it's going to let off that pressure and really give me a little bit more control over how I taper this off. Okay, so let's go ahead and make sure everything is okay. Let's test this out. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. And I have my brush strength set to about 65. Okay, so now with my smudge tool selected and these changes I've made to my brush, now we can go in and adjust this dark spine layer. Okay, so what I can do is just really quickly come in and blend this back in to the rest of the skin. And what I'm doing is I'm starting with hard pressure with my pen at the center part of this spine, and then as I move my way out, I'm just letting off my pen to try and taper this back in. And kind of the look that I'm getting right now is a look of almost like stretched skin, which is kind of what I'm going for. So try to make it look like these darker areas are actually being stretched up and out of this lighter colored skin. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going and just really quickly making some of these adjustments. And I can also come in and just use a series of really light strokes to come in and try to blend away some of these really hard edges that you may come up with. So really quickly, you could come in and maybe blend some of these areas back together, you know, where you've got this really hard color change, and then just come in and with your smudge tool, just really quickly come in and sort of blend this back into the skin. Now for me, I'm going to want to make sure that I actually carry this out a pretty good distance. It looks like in my UV layout that these stretched areas are going a pretty good distance, but you'll see when we go back into Maya that there's really not a whole lot of distance here. The spine in Maya actually starts right here. So we're probably going to want to make sure we at least carry these stretch areas out past this secondary line. So I may need to go back up to some of these areas up here and actually make sure that I do carry these out a pretty good distance. Okay, maybe come back and stretch this a little bit further. Okay, let's go ahead and see how things are lining up. I'm going to go ahead and save this. Let's reload this texture in Maya. Okay, and you can start to see now, if you look very closely, how this is starting to come out. We've now got this area that looks like these spines are starting to stretch up and out from the skin. It's very subtle, and it's kind of hard to see with this specular highlight around the rest of this model. But what you'll see once it comes time to render this, that we've now got these areas that look like they're stretching up and out of the skin, which that's really what we're trying to go for. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video at this point and go ahead and blend in the rest of these spines, and then in the next video we'll go ahead and add some secondary color to the top part of these spines.